start off with our first session in the meanwhile. So the topic is hyper-personalization at scale, leveraging AI and automation for deeper customer connections. We have our key speakers joining in Milind. He's a principal AI scientist. Can you give a big round of applause for him and joining on the stage? Our second speaker, Faisal, IT Director from ALNASSR Club Company. Can we have a bit more energy because it's the first panel discussion? Give me a big round of applause for them. Our third speaker, Navisha Prabhakar. She is SMB Azure ASEAN lead from Microsoft. Can we have a big round of applause for Navisha? Our next key speaker is Shigeto Miyamoto. He's a vice president with Syneos Health. Can we have a big round of applause for him? And the moderator of the session, Ms. Namrata Kapur, director APAC, Ecosystem Marketing and Communication from IBM. Can we have a big round of applause for her? So I request all the speakers to settle down for our session and requesting Namrata to start up and drive the session. Thank you.
All right, good morning once again, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. A lot of focus on the word hyper in the morning sessions, but I'm sure you're going to find this very engaging. So the topic itself says, and I'm going to take a quick break while the gentleman settles. All right, so hyper-personalization. Now, personalization is not good to have, it's a must-have. Are we reaching a point where too much is happening? Is it not enough? We all come from different industries. We all have audiences, be it B2B or B2B2C, where we need to engage them, make them feel seen, make them feel heard, understood, so that they can come back. So there's been enough research on this, and there was Tuhin gave a very enlightening session on the mechanics behind it. Research keeps calling out that one of the recent research, because I'm from IBM, we have an institute for business value. So one of the research that they called out was about 64% of people expect personalization, right? And it increases the rate of conversions almost 60%. Now, obviously, it depends upon the industry, it depends upon the audience, which is why I'm so excited to have a panel which is across board, right? We've got sports and fan engagement, we've got retail and consumer engagement, we've got healthcare being represented, and then of course the IT industry. So here's how I plan to do the session, and of course I want to leave a bit of time in the end to get the audience to ask questions. However, if you feel that there is something that you want to address, feel free to raise your hand and we'll request somebody to pass a mic to you, right? All right, so before I get into it and we talk about how can we create personalization without it being intrusive, and then how do we actually scale that, right? We are in an environment where everybody wants to be treated as individuals, but we don't want ads popping up on our phone which suddenly are hearing everything we say. Just because I said Vietnam doesn't mean I want to travel there, or I don't want to see ads about hotels, but it happens, right? So let's just start this, and I want to go a bit of around the table. We talk about, just reintroduce, I know we have done that earlier, but what does hyper-personalization mean to you in your particular industry? And then we get on with the panel. So Milind, why don't we start?
So, hyper-personalization, okay. So presently I work for a car company, and only I think yesterday our global CEO was talking about how our cars are becoming intelligent. And and how much compute power is inside that and why. They started when we talk about MBOS and how intuitive it is. What we mean is that the car understands what you want to achieve. And he was speaking about how it will one day become your friend, not just a car which understands you. So hyper-personalization in that way, what we are talking about is an intelligence that understands your complete context, your family, your thinking process. Yeah. When you say Vietnam, it understands you don't want to travel to Vietnam. It's just a news article you're referring to, yeah? Because it knows you so well. Yes. So hyper-personalization, I guess, at least for me, it means an intelligence that understands my personal context, not just from some recorded memories of my search history, yeah, or context that I have to provide every single time, but something that grows with me, knows what I am looking for, and is there to help me with it. I hope that
Perfect.
that
What
helps.
about you, Faisal?
So first of all, I would like to describe about how important in the sports the AI and hyper-personalization. Basically, all of my friends over here, they came from, most of them from cricket background. So just to understand, in Middle East, heavy investment is going on the sports and over football. So especially after 2034 World Cup, it's a $1 trillion industry for the sports, and as compared to the IPL teams, so if you compare the total of the top 6 or 7 IPL teams, the valuation is as similar as the one club of Saudi Arabia or the Middle East. So here, hyper-personalization is very much important because the fan experience is heavily involved, and they are as dedicated as the people who are connected with IPL and cricket. So yes, hyper-personalization is very much important over there, and the team and the companies are working heavily to get more fan experience.
Thanks, Faisal. I think great insights from everyone. I lead the small medium businesses sector for Azure Data and AI. So Microsoft, being a B2B organization, we help businesses to do hyper-personalization, which means we work across industries. When I just see there are various case studies or examples wherein we and our offerings, like what we see in AI, it's just not what Microsoft is offering today. Like if I just look at the industry lens, is pretty wide. So if I'm a consumer and I expect a study or my data to get used in the right format, so AI definitely needs human intervention. That is why hyper-personalization can help, but it's not fair to say that AI is going to do it all. So we need humans and to actually tell AI what they need. So the result will be based on what you see is right. So when we see in retail or in healthcare, what do we expect? So we've heard from Milind and Faisal that it's really a part of all the industries, but for retail what we see is whether it's automated searches or making you look good or having online kiosks or managing your supply chain management, AI actually helps you to give the insights that you need to make smart decisions. The hyper-personalization is actually going to help you to work smarter, efficient, and more productive. So these are certain things that will help, but the customer's satisfaction is the basic narrative that ties the story to what we all want from AI to do for us. We can do a week's job in an hour, so there's a lot of time that AI gives us to actually go and create that content in a more strategic way. So hyper-personalization will actually get impacted, and my viewpoint is more mundane tasks that AI does for us, but for hyper-personalization or creation of things that we want to suit our business strategy, we need more manpower and more strategic thinking, and AI can just help serve that better.
Once again, I'm Shigeto, I'm from healthcare, so I'm going to speak about the hyper-personalization from a healthcare context. In healthcare, we consider ourselves the B2B2C because it's always doctors to prescribe drugs between us and the patients. And then about the patient, it's all about hyper-personalizations, right? Everyone has a different disease or sickness, and different conditions, different the payer model. I'm covering the APAC from Singapore, so each country has a different system in insurance. So it's all about hyper-personalizations, but also same times, so you want to be heard, but same times if the company or service provider know you too much, that's scary, right? So you don't want the agents knows that you are in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam last week too, so we probably met, but we don't want the public knows about it. So it's about also the anonymizations. So healthcare is swinging always between personalization and anonymizations, and how we can make it the more effective, the retargeting microsegment, because the CPA is 10 times more than the consumers. So we want to target the very microsegmenting, but it's also same times we don't want them to know that we are too scary, big brother is watching them. So customer journey, microsegmentation, but it's also clustering level. That's all techniques that require. So we can talk about more.
Perfect, great, thank you everyone. The amount of time Vietnam has come up, I mean, truth be told, I was there doing shopping, so there is no doubt I have retail examples coming up here, but moving on from there. So one of as we get the panel started, a piece that works on hyper-personalization or any AI model, right, is what kind of algorithms, if in the crudest sense, is behind it. Anytime we are creating something, we have to have that solution or the product or the offering to go across creating models, leveraging data, but also doing it in the most ethical or tying to the governance, right? Most of us work with enterprise clients or clients which handle enterprise data, sensitive data, right? And for IBM, for example, our offering called Watson X is essentially looking at how do we provide AI capabilities for various different clients, be it fan engagement or healthcare. But you raised this point, like we're talking about governance and ethical. So why don't we start with that, right? What are the implications and where does it become too much? How do you find dealing with the ethical dilemma while working on hyper-personalization?
Okay, so it's probably my cue.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very sensitive one. So healthcare is a big industry. So I'll talk about most extreme, scary case perhaps about the AI morale. So we don't do AI for the clinical trial right now. I mean, we do some operational work, but it's when it comes to the patients. In a clinical trial, for the background, we have the random, double. Well, the industry word is we go to double blind first. So double blind means that the patient doesn't know who's the provider, and the provider doesn't know who they are, so that it's fair to completely anonymize the relationship. And we create a control group and uncontrolled group, A and B, and of course randomize the samples. And for the control A group, we give them the new drug, unapproved, but we believe this is very effective. Maybe little side effect, but you need to sign up. And then the big group B, we just give them a placebo. So, but they don't know it, right? So that's how we scientifically validate how the drugs works, right? And we often consider about using AI to speed up, because for patients, real patients, is waiting for the new drugs. And how do we pick the right patients? Because everyone has a different history. So I just say that it's statistically we create a group A and B, but every individual has very different background, family history, their work style, their hobby. So everyone has a different parameter. So it's not just real that A/B test in a digital marketing wise. This is when it comes to ethics. So if this is a car, the automotive car, the auto drive, the AI drives the car, and so this is the famous the Troco dilemma. So if the two persons on a headway road, and you have to go the either route, and unfortunately you need to hit the person A or person B. How do you choose it? People we decide, we make a decision in 1 second, and then often that we just randomize our thoughts. But for AI, the 1 second is not a problem, right? So we could make a completely right decision, but based on what? Sometimes we talk about based on a tax history, who's paid more in the tax in the government. Maybe we shouldn't hit this person because this is going to impact the whole society. Or is this a person younger or elder or maybe pregnant? So that's the whole history. It's not about one person versus another person. It's all about background. So that's but can AI think about it? And once we decide, make a criteria, and okay, let's say this person. Let's pick this person for the real drug versus a placebo. And then the AI will start automated, right? So this is gonna, it's not a one-time decision. It's always just going to the scale and more. So that's the most scary part. Once you make a decision, and until that you change it or pivot it, the AI continue doing it. So that's and then we are talking about human lives. So that's how scary it is, and that's an ethical point, particularly in AI or automations.
That's a very interesting point. AI learns, most of the AI models, they learn from what's being inputted and they build on that, which often also leads to concepts like hallucination because they start assuming things which a human intervention, to your point, Navisha, would probably not do that, right? So thanks for sharing that. And from a B2B to C move, I think it's a good pivot to B2C. And Milind, I'm going to bring this to you. Retail, and if you forgive me, I'm going to go a little broader question on retail consumers, right? So even in your current line, with a very specific niche product that caters to a very niche audience to some extent, still it has to look at the trend line of retail consumers. What are they looking for? So what have you seen the role of AI in defining the customer journey, and how do we actually pivot on which are the key buying points? Anything on that?
Thank you. In fact, from a retail perspective, not just luxury cars, one of the things that AI is probably going to change is how we understand our customers, or how customer understands and interacts with the brand. Maybe I'll go one step higher to set that image in your mind. Even though very often we think of AI as not particularly intelligent, let's put that on hold, because I've been working on with AI for the last 5, 6, 7 years now, 7 years. And the speed with which it is getting intelligent is breathtaking. There might be a slight pause now, but rest assured, the trajectory is clear. Now, if there is an intelligence, yes, instead of any organization, any workflow where you have placed a certain budget, instead of that, there is an intelligence which is able to understand things beyond just its immediate function. Maybe it is able to understand the code, which is where, let's say, then that changes the way we interact with it. When a customer comes to you and says, I want this, let's say I want to buy a hammer. Nobody wants to buy and own a hammer, or a shovel. What they want is a holder. What they want is a nail in the wall somewhere. So now you sell them a hammer, but what if in future, if you knew their context, yes, you could sell them a service, and this service will not be just from the hammer company. It will be with the nail company, etc. Okay, one way of looking at things. Another possibility, all of us use ChatGPT or Claude or something for something. Now more and more also for shopping, for web search, for information gathering. as we begin to rely more and more on this artificial intelligence, what artificial intelligence companies are also realizing is that you want an assistant that understands your context. Yes? So now, when I say I want a hole dug here, I don't come to your shop and tell you, or to your brand to tell you, or to your company to tell you that I want to buy a shovel. I tell my assistant I want a hole here. Yes? And now my AI assistant will decide how to get it together. So what with these small images, I can talk about it forever. I love the subject. Yeah, but what I want to bring to you, to your attention is that for retail, especially for B2C retail, where hyper-personalization really delivers value, where it is valuable to understand your customer's context. We have been trying to understand our customers forever. That's the whole goal. AI will eventually change everything. How we interact with our customers, how our customers interact with us, how our products are designed, how our communication happens to the customer, every single thing.
Thank you, Milind. I think apart from customers, which is one person, you know who's not forgiving if the personalization doesn't happen? It's fans. They have such low patience for, in my opinion, and such low patience for not having access to the right information at the right time and knowing what their teams are doing, that if you're able to succeed at fan communities, I think you've got it made. And before I come to Faisal, the reason I started thinking about that was there was a partnership and it's a case study that when we worked with ESPN, they launched a fan community, and most of us have most of the football fans are part of fantasy football, right? They bring their own teams. But what if the AI, which is what ESPN did with us, was it used that to help bridge where is your team weak? Are you weak at defense? Is it mid? Is it do you need a better striker? And recommend your fantasy football team and where that gap builds up. With that, then they linked it back to the upcoming matches, right? And how do you build up and bring that affinity towards you? So Faisal, you've been working in that industry for a bit, right? And there were some really interesting case studies I was looking at of the pieces, especially, and if you all haven't seen it, he's featuring on the cover page of the current edition. There's some really nice stories that you have. So what about fan communities, and how do you make sure that they don't leave you in court or don't get too vocal about their not being pleased with what you do?
Yeah, so you're right. The fan are very much sensitive, other than if you see the retail sector. So if there is a small changes or anything happens on the over hyper personalization, it creates a problem. So what we are working on to get more engaged with the fans by many channels, from social media to the in-stadium interactions, and through their journey of the transactions. So what we do is also we are creating the MasterCard or Visa card connection, and through that whatever the footprint that they are doing it, we are engaging with that, and we are going with the social media channel and which ticket they are buying, for which match they are going through. So all this we are doing then analytics and provide more deeper interaction with the fans. And nowadays we are revolutionizing this the whole AI and interactive journey with. So I don't know, I've never been to this cricket match, but in football what we are doing is during the half time we are creating this AR and VR experience so that they knows what's going on and create a predictive analysis and what will be the outcome of that match. So make more engagement with the fans during the match.
So there are a lot of us who have our own startups. We work, and especially the IT companies, and Navisha, this one for you, right? We've spoken about B2B, B2B2C. From a B2B standpoint, right? Given that you're working with SMBs, how do you, what kind of solutions or how do you see hyper-personalization / AI being used for that come up in some of your clients? I mean, I'd love to hear some stories on that as well.
So I think for us in SMBs, we call it as the growth segment for our company. It is the business need for every small medium businesses to basically get more scalable, more operational, more productivity is one of the most important things that we hear from all the SMEs that we've been working with for the last 3 years. As we have AI, and I think especially I would want to call out Singapore also in one of the ways is we've started working with a lot of strategic initiatives like IMDA or like government bodies where they are also helping support these small medium businesses by getting some grants, funding, and how we do this partnership with them is because they know that the future of Singapore or the important economy decisions that will happen in the near 2 to 3 years, it will have AI infusion. So one of the things that I think a lot of SMEs will aim to do is getting some local funding or strategic partnership with government bodies. The second is when we see businesses come to us now, they can be very small scale or they can be small, start small and become the unicorns, unicorns or the very big companies as well. But making them understand at the start that what AI can do for you. For example, there is an organization which is working with us in terms of having a lot of chefs and online teaching community for cooking. So they generally would want to have these videos from all across the world, experts in terms of all the cuisines that they have. They would want to have local preferences built in and they keep using the offerings that we have in terms of maybe ChatGPT, like which was said, which is infused with our co-pilot model, which actually embeds the data which is there already there with them. So if they make a search of all the videos that they've had, they add in a feature functionality of improving it. So they are just using AI to make the offerings that they have smarter. Similarly, if we see for real estate or companies which have a lot of RFPs, they use some of the AI offerings that we have to read these long RFPs and concise it in less than 500 words. That makes manual intervention very, very, like it's just negligent right now. Now it's not there. So I think every case study has its own way, shapes and forms. Similarly for companies like ASOS or Marks and Spencer, and they are global. I'm not just putting ASEAN context here, but they've used hyper-personalization, for example, with millennials, right? They don't like trying a lot of things on physical stores, but they want to see what color looks good on them, what styling looks good on them. They really get bored with the latest trends. So we've helped companies like in retail for ASOS or Marks and Spencer to also come up with these local variants, give them studies in terms of what will work, what will look good on a millennial, what trend will suit them, what trend will not suit them. So they use a lot of our AI offerings now across organizations, even in legal for that matter. There are a lot of cases that they need a lot of context from all the bodies that they work along with. So they historically see this data point, they see what will help them to make an important pitch. So even in legal industry, a lot of summarization, negotiation, also comparison between what they should put in court versus what they should not say, all of these things, AI just helps them give them context. So across SMEs in Singapore, ASEAN, what I see across is every industry is starting small. The point is that they are making AI councils within their organization. They are testing that 1 or 2 use cases that make maximum sense for them. They see the productivity return and then they see if they can scale it out to the entire organization. So I think as OEM organizations, while we compete with all the leading ones, our job is to get value to the customer. So whether it's hyper-personalization or not, we tell them what works for them, what AI can do, what it cannot do. Being transparent is very, very important. Specifically for financial sector, just want to call out there are a lot of regulations. So while I work with a lot of companies here in the SME space, they want these regulations to be AI embedded. So, thankfully, at least for Microsoft, we have certifications in place where they have these GDPR compliances. The government standard body also get to these certifications, so we don't have issue with AI integration because these are tested, they are certified, and we just help to make their case stronger. So if there's any infringement also, Microsoft will come and actually pay for that money if it's not AI supported. So that's something that we are taking really good care of, and I think the privacy of the customer, we don't use any of their data point to actually train our models. It is their data, we just present it in a very efficient way for them. So that's what our AI offering is doing, and that's across industries. So I hope that that's answers the question.
Definitely. And it kind of brings up, just in interest of time, I think just bringing it all back to, since we are at a marketing conference, let's talk about the implications and maybe some best practices we have seen, right? So one of the examples of how we have seen hyper-personalization work is with WPP, who's worked with us to actually create, and I'm talking B2B context, right? We look at examples of how WPP has actually launched a model called Brain Grow. So in your audience, when we go to hyper-personalization in a B2B, it's not just the organization, it's who in that organization has the buying power. What does that, which point of the journey are they in, and then taking content which is relevant to that person, right? So the WPP case study is actually very interesting because they built the buying group brains, then they have taken content, and for each of that individual, how do you make the right content in which, does this need to be on TikTok, does this need to be on LinkedIn, do they visit websites, and then giving them that content, right? So that's an excellent example of where I felt that you're actually taking the relevant marketing learnings, but also targeting it in different environments. One of the pieces, the other piece, and after this I'm going to leave it, I would like to leave it open, is brand, right? In a day and era where you have enough chat GPTs and versions of that, and you have image generators, right? How do you connect it back and make sure you're brand compliant while improving? For example, IBM Creative Assistant creates brand compliant data set, right? So creative images. If we have tried some of the image generators, there'll always be something that's possibly not compliant to us. So these are some of the examples I have worked on or seen. But I'm going to leave it open and say, from a marketing standpoint, as a marketer or a consumer of that marketing campaign in your relevant industries, what is a B2B, B2C, B2B2C marketing campaign that you felt was really personalized and good takeaway learnings for us?
That's a difficult one. From a personal experience perspective, well, as far as AI understanding what or hyper-personalized service to me is concerned, I am still a little disappointed, I would say. What I see is Google Maps knows where my home and my office is, good job, because I told it, and then it gives me some recommendations. Amazon knows a lot about me and how my household runs, yeah. So, well, and it recommends things and we buy stuff. News websites, especially try, and this is where I would say part of the risk of hyper-personalization comes in. It knows what I like and it will give me a lot of what I like. Yes. You can probably look up, not part of this discussion, but there is one very interesting study on, trying to prove or test that the global drop in birth rate can be linked directly to social media usage, because it leads to forming strong opinions about small things, and human connections become harder. Anyway, so yeah, news websites and their hyper-personalization is probably a little bit disappointing, though very good for most people. They like reinforcing what you hear, always gives you that dopamine. Hyper-personalization is one step away from where we are as far as technology goes. I don't know whether that step will be in 1 year or 2 years or 10 years, but but when that comes, then the things that I was talking about earlier, they will be possible, and that is what I'm looking for. Not just something that feeds me what I like or what I want, but also a friend and a guide. Yeah. That is from my side. At this point, I'm a little disappointed. I'm still looking for the next thing.
So I can relate that comment from my side or from the marketer side. So our audience obviously is not happy yet. Right? For the marketers, we in healthcare even we also do the channel affinity analysis and connect to the dynamic segments, personalization. So when it comes to personalization or AI, we often focus on the customer's preference or attribution individually, right? And we've done enough. But the all information, but key message, right? We change the content, we change the channel, but key message we want to say is just can you buy this? Well, why do you buy this? You know, when do you buy this? So we want to sell or we want to promote our product or information. So the key message is the same, no matter what channel or content you change. We don't change. So we need hyper-personalization. Marketer side, that's my learning, during this journey. Give us a good example. We tested sending the same email to the different personality, different segments, and we see the open ratio, click-through ratio, conversion ratio, of course. But what makes change significantly is who's actually sent. If this is come from the AI automated message or corporate office, 20% is top open ratio. But if it comes from the personal, someone, you met someone in person one time, it goes up to 70% because of the receivers, the trust with the senders. It's a hyper-personalization. So it's kind of old model, but it can be very sophisticated. So I think your disappointment and our marketers' efforts can be fill the gap in the near future, maybe 2 years, I would say.
I can just add to that. I think just a quick viewpoint is it's both a boon and a bane. So there are AI-related scams as well, because AI can actually understand your voice, it can train your voice, it can speak in the same language, it can do a lot, right? So now that is the opposition to AI getting used for chatbots. But chatbots are really helpful to customers because they respond real time. And now we also have hyper-personalization where AI chatbots should actually sound like humans. So it can be both a boon and a bane in various ways. The important point for marketers is to use it strategically, to use it in the right way. Targeted audience marketing is something that I think really works well. You need to customize, curate, I always say, and understand the context of what the customer demands out of you. Whether it's AI or not, use AI to build the campaign, create content, building campaign analysis, doing a lot of analysis of what works, what doesn't work. But as a marketer, you can't take away the fact that every brand needs brand endorsements, branding, and for that, they are using your agencies and your creative minds to come in. So using AI in the right way to get to maybe generate what you can get more out of it, what worked for you or what did not work. I see intelligent marketing agencies do that all the time. They curate things which really work for them. But AI generated content can lead to fatigue. It can lead to a lot of information fatigue for customers is what we see. So use AI the right way. For marketers, using it for branding, content generation, campaigns can be good as a starting point, but you need to work towards creating your own niche. That's what we see in luxury segments, niche segments. So if it works for you, that's one of the last piece of advice that I had.
In continuation with Milind, your talk, so what we need to understand is we have to maintain somewhere like over hyper-personalization with the less hyper-personalization. Because over hyper-personalization will lead like customer to go out from this one and they feel like you are overpower them. So it should be maintain a balance where you talk about news and all this. So there should be a balance on AI and hyper-personalization where consumer or an end user will feel safe and feel that yes, whatever the content that they are looking for, it comes, not over content creation.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. We probably have time for maybe one or two questions. Would somebody in the audience like to ask our panelists?
Anyone? Questions? A very interesting session on hyper-personalization.
It was an interesting session. I have a quick question. So, being in the GTM space and helping startups or SME companies like small and medium companies grow in the AI space, we've created a lot of campaigns. And like you said, personalization is getting hyper. It's not just personalization. Some companies want to know everything that the customers are doing. So. Like you said, Namrata, that you need to understand the person who's going to have the buying power. Do you think these people are really interested in personalization, or they just need a quick fix to their problem, or they need a quick buying solution, or do you still think that personalization is being overhyped, or do you think it really is relevant to all the companies? Because if Amazon tells me that this is what you want to buy, I would still buy it. But if a startup tells me this is what you need to buy, I'm really going to think it twice because the brand is not big. So I just want to know your comments on this.
Sure. From a B2B context, right? The need, there is always a need, but it might not be at the time where you want to sell it, right? Which is why it's very important, and some of the learnings also for me go in the B2C direction is we have a longer buying journey. It's anywhere from 3 to 6 to 12 months. So because my revenue, and I think there was a point that we made in the morning, I need to sell my Q1 revenue doesn't mean I'll find that audience. But and this is where these AI models can also help identify who's your buying group, who's a validated buying group, and then convert it into, say, an SQL and an MQL and then an SQL. But if I have to hit an audience, I need to know, are they in their exploratory stage? Are they in their, are they in the learning stage? Have they already identified that this is my problem and hence I need to buy now? Or are they just an influencer, right? So a CEO might not have the same needs as a CTO at that point versus a developer who actually has to end up creating the solution and is looking at who I need to work on. From a startup's standpoint, if it's a B2C product, it might be a different journey because Amazon can say, hey, based on your buying patterns or based on your search, this is what you want. But if a startup is creating a solution or a B2B solution, they need to identify a specific need, a specific persona, and the person in that company. So that is where AI capabilities can actually bring, because a CEO might not have the time to read through detailed articles about AI personalization and all, whereas a developer needs coding behind it. So his articles need to be more on coding and more on that. So that's where those hyper-personalization, who's listening, what are they looking for, and what kind of context sets for them. But any of the panelists, if you have thoughts?
I can just add to it. So first thing is, if mostly these buyers from SMEs would be C-level, so that's where the problem gets harder. They know what they want, they know exactly what they want, and they create the need by asking their internal audience as well. So one thing that works for SMEs, what I've seen is creating a compelling need, creating some constructive tension, why they need to take it, right? And for that you need some compete presence, like mostly for SMEs, if they see their immediate competition adopt something, they would want to get to a better version of it. So AI can help give those inferences, but for SMEs, mostly what we see is it's how do you connect the dots, right? How do you create that compelling need, constructive tension amongst them, that this campaign will help them to get to X amount of revenue in a shorter span or a longer span. SMEs don't have the patience mostly for building on long-term journeys, so they want to see, analyze in 3 to 4 months and then come back with their ROI investment decisions very, very fast. Because with AI, everything will fail fast and then get down to working on the next model is what people are saying to us as well. So I think for all marketers or for any brand agency, it is important that they build short-term goals for that particular industry type, and then they help them by curating to what Namrata said, giving them exactly from MQL to SQL, are they looking for that or what they are exactly looking for, and helping them support with those case studies or points or brands or campaigns that can help them get to where they actually want to get to. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Time for one more question? Yeah, we can take one more question. Anyone? All right.
This is for Faisal. I'm a Hilali fan. So we're the best club in the world, in Asia. So you're our direct, competitor. When Ronaldo was, onboarded to ALNASSR, you had a shift from very hyper-local club to now probably a global club. How much did that change in your, what do you do for helping the global fans understand ALNASSR? Who is ALNASSR?
So let's talk about not talk about Hilal or ALNASSR. We are all PIF company. So we deal as a PIF company. And let's talk about your CR7 when we joined. So automatically when CR7 joined, the international fans join us. And so we don't have to give much effort on the international fan engagement because the brand is with us. So here we also then work more on the fan engagement of our international fans, and we are inviting them to our club to meet and greet with CR7 and with other team members as well. So that's how we work on, and we'll keep on growing with a lot of new talent that we are acquiring in our company. Hope this answers the question.
Right, thank you to my panelists. That was really engaging and I learned a lot from all of you. Thank you to the audience.
Thanks for the wonderful panel discussion.
So can we have a big round of applause for Namrata? You are driving a very wonderful session on hyper-personalization at scale, leveraging AI and automation for deeper customer connections. So thanks Milind, thanks Faisal, thanks Navisha, thanks Shigeto, and of course our moderator Namrata.
I would like to invite Ms. Mitali for the certificates. Just for the certificates, please stay back, all the panelists. So first we have Namrata Kapur. Come on guys, huge round of applause for Namrata. Next we have Milind. Come on guys, huge round of applause for Milind. Next we have
Sorry, can I get one more? Yeah, thank you. Give me a thumbs up.
So next we have Faisal Khan. Come on guys, huge round of applause for Faisal. Next we have Navisha Prabhakar. Come on guys, huge round of applause for Navisha. And at last we have Shigeto Miyamoto. Come on guys, huge round of applause for Shigeto.
Okay, look here, 3, 2, 1. Begin.
Come on guys, huge round of applause for all the panelists of this session.